So guys, over the last couple weeks, we've had a big issue with the squirrels running through our tomato plants, and they were all staked up earlier in the season, had them all nice and organized, and this is what happened after the squirrels ran through everything. So as you can see, the tomatoes were perfectly staked all the way up to the top, and the squirrels have been running through the top of the tomatoes and now have collapsed all the tomatoes down into each other, which has made it very hard to try and pick the fresh ones, and also has killed some of the tomatoes off. I have a plan for next year to build more of a permanent structure. So next season, the plan is hopefully to put some sort of structure up and over the beds to better hold the tomatoes up. So if the squirrels decide that next year they're going to try and run across all of them, the tomatoes are better supported, and we don't have this catastrophic failure of the squirrels just crushing down all the tomatoes. Most of the season they were held up pretty good with twine, I would say, up until the last couple weeks, and then all of a sudden the squirrels decided they wanted to run through them and collapsed, as you can see, the majority of our tomatoes. Luckily, some of them are still doing really well. So the other morning we came out and found our corn just decimated, shredded. Come to find out, the raccoons decided that they wanted to have an early snack and pretty much took care of all of our corn. Something that we were very excited for this year, we'd never tried before here, is cantaloupe. The one issue we had was this area where we put this trellis doesn't get as much sun as we thought it was going to. So next year our plan is to move the cantaloupe down farther where there's more sun. But we still did get a pretty good result. We have 3 guys right here, even though this guy's a little small. We have another one that's down here. and we've actually already harvested one that we already ate, and it tastes unbelievable. So next year, hopefully moving them down into the sun will give us a lot better yield. All right, so these are some of the fall crops that we've been planting so far. Over here we got 2 different varieties of carrots, and then on this side of the bed we have kale. We tried kale earlier in the year and the squirrels dug it all up and ate it before it got to this size. So this time I put a protective netting over it while it got to about this high, and so far last couple days that I've taken it off, the squirrels have left it alone, so let's hope they continue to do that. In the background you can see that it's mid-September now, so the majority of our cucumbers are kind of starting to die off. We've had some nights in the low 50s the last couple days, and the cucumbers are not liking those low temperatures as much as they were earlier in the year when it was very warm out. So today we're going to be canning salsa. The recipe for today is going to come out of the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. The recipe inside that we're going to be using today is the fresh vegetable salsa. It's going to give us 5 pint jars worth of salsa. If you're new to canning, make sure you're always using an approved canning method. Today we're going to be using a hot bath instead of a pressure canner. That's what this recipe calls for. We're going to show you guys kind of step by step of how we make it. So let's get started. So even though this recipe says it'll make 5 pints, I only got 4.5 out of this batch. I'm not sure if they just cooked down too much to not get the full 5 pints, or if the tomatoes that I used for this, which came out of the garden, just happened to be a little more watery, because when I measured, there was 7 cups. After I had peeled them and diced them, there was 7 cups of paste tomatoes that I did use. Unfortunately, I only got 4.5, so I was able to can 4 full jars. I did sample the half jar that we had. This is probably the hottest one that we've made so far. This time I left all the seeds in, and all the jalapenos that came from or were put into this were from our garden. So this one turned out pretty hot. If you don't want them have them as hot, you can always leave all the seeds out in this recipe, or put half the seeds in, or whatever your desire is for the level of hotness. Once again, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning into one of our videos. If you guys could hit the like and subscribe button, that would help us out. We will have another video coming out probably in the next couple of weeks. Till then, see you guys.